right, we're back on the Doug Saravo Show. We got Mark Murrow with us today. Mark, it's always a pleasure having you on.
Yes, I appreciate it.
All right, so last night, how, what a game. How does the Penguins, you would think having a 6-0 lead, they would, basically blow the Devils away. Final score 7-6, a touchdown and two field goals. What happened from Pittsburgh's point of view, and then I could get to the Devils?
It was a great 40 minutes of play from the Penguins. 6-0 after two periods. Jari looked sharp. The defense played awesome, and the offense was, obviously 6-0. They were really good. Jari takes a real stupid penalty early in the third period when we're already on the penalty kill to make it go 5-on-3. He lets up a cross crease goal. Whatever, it's 6-1, and Jari just loses concentration, gives up some real cheeky goals, and it's the Sharon Govich shorthanded goal, the Jack Hughes short side goal that should have never went in, and the sixth goal when he tried to score for some reason. That's not a goalie's job, um, and he misplayed the puck behind the net, and it goes through his legs. So the defense played decent in the third period. I just think Jari has to get his head out of his ass.
And the thing with this Devils team is well, first of all, if we want to talk about them playing on home ice, they've been atrocious. 4-16 and I think 3. So it's like, why bother play at home? Well, if they played at home and they won those games and went 16-4-3, we'd be in a playoff spot right now. So I want to say we're not. I want to say we're not terrible because we do look decent. We are a few years ahead from being a playoff team, but if you look at this Devils team, for some reason, when we fall behind early, we saw it the other day with the Rangers trailing 4-0 on home ice. We come back and we lose 5-3. We're trailing 6-0 going to the third, and we score 6 goals till you guys won. So it's like, are the Devils a bad team, or are we just like going through like some type of growing pains with these young guys?
I don't know. The Devils looked real crap in the first two periods, like awful. Like they couldn't get anything going. The sixth period, they looked like a Stanley Cup team.
Six
Um,
goals?
yeah, 6 goals, and it turns out that the Crosby goal was the game winner, which is crazy because he made it 7-3 at that point with like
Yeah,
8
you
minutes
would
to go.
think 7-3 in the third period, it's over. But I guess the Devils, being young, they want to show a lot of guys basically have jobs on the line that they want to be on this team for the long run. And we have the Seattle expansion draft, so we have to protect 7 guys. There's a lot of guys that will be available for Seattle. So I believe it was Nico Heischer that said, we don't give up. And the Devils showed it despite this, I wouldn't say embarrassing type of season, but they've had their moments and they've had their bad play. So I just think that they want to show that they belong here in New Jersey for the long run.
I agree. I mean, Nolan Foote, Jack Hughes looked phenomenal. Those are Jack Hughes being 19 years old. I mean, after a disappointing season last year in his rookie year,
Oh,
he
for
has something to
sure.
prove. Yeah, he's got something to prove, and especially with Alexis Lafreniere on the other side of the river, he's also not having a great season in the Rangers' push to the playoffs. He's been much better as of late, but um, Jack Hughes wants to prove something to not only the Devils but to the fans of New Jersey. And I think he proved it against the Penguins every time. He always plays good against them, and I think he's going to be a phenomenal player, an elite player in
Oh,
the
I
years
think so
coming.
too, and I think we're lucky to have him and Nico Heischer.
And
But the
Nico
thing,
scored last night, so I think
yeah.
him.
But the thing about Jack is he is 19 years old, and he wants to be here for the long run. I think he came out. He said he wants to win a Stanley Cup in New Jersey. He wants to basically be the face of this franchise. So last year he looked good with the puck. He was moving the puck.
He
You
made he
know,
made one terrible move, which was he didn't dump it all the way down the ice, which led to a Penguins goal when he was trying to change. That was his only mistake last night. But other than that, I mean, he looked really good. Besides that
yeah.
one mistake.
And back to last year, he would have those sloppy moments, lose balance, but that's because he came in playing with men and 18 years old, basically a kid out of high school, you could say.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be a huge piece for the Devils, just like Sidney Crosby was for the Penguins these last 10 plus years.
Yeah, I think with Holtz being signed to a contract the other day, um, getting Holtz, you're getting Hughes, you're getting Heischer. Ball's going to be coming up soon. You got Nolan Foote. Um, you have Severson, who's the longest tenured Devil. Who's what is he? Only like 29 years old, 28 years old.
I think he's 20. He's 26, I believe.
Is he?
Yeah, he's still pretty young.
Which is insane. But
How old is Damon Severson? Yeah, I think he's like 26. Yeah, he's 26.
and he's the longest tenured
The
Devil.
longest tenured Devil.
They got a lot to prove to head coach Lindy Ruff. The only problem I have with Lindy Ruff is that he's a win now coach, and this isn't a win now team.
This is a team that's going to rebuild for at least 3 to 4 years, in my opinion.
I think Jared Gallant should be a coach they should look for because he's a win now coach, but he can groom these young men into being superstars.
I mean, the same thing could be said about Vegas if we remember. Not many people expected them to go on this great run where they've been in the playoffs basically every year, but especially that first year where a lot of these guys, they were third, fourth liners on many teams, and they took that next step. Sure, you had Marc-Andre Fleury, a Penguin's great. He's going to have 29 up in the rafters one day. But he really brought the best out in these players, and they went to the Stanley Cup final. Now I don't know why he got fired. Maybe some type of behind the scenes issues that we don't know about. But Gerard Gallant really basically helped the Vegas Golden Knights get to where they want to be today. So I'm surprised the Devils went with the coach in Lindy Ruff. Great experience, but not for this young team.
No, I think Mark Recchi, former Penguin player and former Stanley Cup champion coach, helps the power play and helps those young guys groom into being great hockey players. So I think Mark Recchi is going to stay behind the bench. I'm not going to say Lindy Ruff's going to be fired or let go, but I think they should move away from him because he's a win now coach and this isn't a win now team.
Yeah, it's going to be like 3 to 4 years before we even sniff the playoffs from what I'm seeing. But hey, crazier things have happened in professional sports. So,
Yeah.
if the Devils draft well this year, maybe get Luke Hughes. Who knows? But based on right now, it's going to be at least 3 to 4 years, maybe 2 to 3. But who knows? We have a lot of young guys in the system with Holtz, with Mercer. We have Heischer, we have Hughes. So hopefully, the Devils did look great pre-COVID. We were competing with teams like Boston. We were 6-4-2, and then all of a sudden we had this COVID outbreak. Blackwood looked great in the opening games, and then he had COVID, and he basically fell apart. So, is it really hard to blame the Devils when they went through something as COVID? And this was maybe like a fluke.
I mean, they lost.
They've been looking bad, but I'm not trying to make excuses. But
I mean, what are they on a 6-game losing streak now?
Yeah, 6-game losing streak. 4-16-2 on home ice. So it's like, where do you even begin?
I think they gotta get better goaltending behind Mackenzie Blackwood. He's hurt right now. So who do you have? You have Wedgwood and Dell.
Scott Wedgwood, Aaron Dell. We got Jeremy Brodeur in the system.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think he'll see NHL time.
Me either. But I don't know. I don't think they're far away from what they want in terms of making the playoffs and possibly winning a round or two. So I think they need to get better defense. They need to get. I don't know if Mackenzie Blackwood can be the starter that they need, but maybe go after a guy in free agency or have someone back up Blackwood like a Fleury and Murray situation, where you have that security blanket behind them.
Yeah, because if we remember in the playoffs with the Penguins, it was a whole situation where Fleury went down, Murray went down, and then Zakharov had to come in, and they still went on a great run and won the Stanley Cup. And then the following year, Murray went down, Fleury started. I believe that's how it worked, right?
Yeah, Murray was struggling, so they pulled him in 2017 and played Flurry.
All right, so yeah, but we've seen it with the depth that the Penguins had with 17 and 18, 16 and 17, where they won the Stanley Cups in back-to-back years. So, we mentioned, well, Andrew didn't really understand this with depth, how you need depth to win the Stanley Cup, but you also need solid goaltending to win the Stanley Cup, and that's why the Penguins won the Cup. And I think that's why the Devils are struggling today because Scott Redwood and Aaron Dell, much respect to them, but they're not going to lead a team to a Stanley Cup or to playoffs when you need them the most.
Yeah, I agree. I think depth. I mean, we spoke about this 2 weeks ago about how you need depth to win a Stanley Cup. You need depth to make the playoffs, let alone win a Stanley Cup. So the Penguins have the depth. I mean, especially when Malkin, Tanev, Kapanen, and all these guys come back. It's going to be an interesting playoffs this year. I'm really excited for the playoffs. I mean, you got four great teams in each division. It's gonna, they beat up on each other for 2 rounds, so we'll see what happens. I'm actually excited. This probably be the best playoffs I've seen since probably like 2014, 15.
Oh, I think so. We're gonna, well, 17, 18 could be, you could say, was interesting, but this is going to be interesting for many reasons. More, you're not going to have teams that we know in the West because they're in the East with Nashville. So this is going to be interesting, and then you have the All Canadian bracket. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but it's going to be interesting to see how these teams perform in the playoffs, especially when you really haven't seen them perform in the playoffs in years. We haven't seen Florida, we haven't seen Carolina, so I think it's going to be interesting to see this new look of teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. It's gonna be a good playoff season, and I think it's gonna be Penguins, Islanders, Washington, and Boston, which two credible matchups in the East.
All right, so I'm gonna get to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Is this like? Should you be nervous that you guys blew a 6-0 lead, or was it just we're playing the Devils? We don't really know what to expect from them.
Um, I don't know. I'm gonna be nervous per se. I would be more conscious. They have to be the versus the Devils, who always play good against the Penguins, and you need to, you're up 6-0. Dump and chase. Why are you letting them come in the zone? Why are you trying to score? Tristan Jarry, why are you letting weak goals in? Why are you trying to score at the end of the game? They're just mental mistakes that need to be cut out of the game, cut out of their game. So when I if you cut that out, they're a Stanley Cup team. This should have been a 7-0 win.
Yeah, I'm at work. It was 6. It was 6-0. I was like, we're not going to watch this. And then, of course, Nick, the Ranger fan, put on the Ranger game, and then we watched some of the Met game. But it was 6-0, and then I finished all my work, and I saw we scored a few goals. It was 6-2. I was like, all right, good. We're fighting. And then at the end, I say goodbye to everyone. He's like, yo, what happened to the Devil game? I said, what happened? They lost by 1 goal, 7-6. So,
Yeah, I was I was watching the game, and I was unbelievably pissed because it was just weak goals. It wasn't even like the only goal that wasn't Tristan Jarry's fault was that 5-on-3 goal in the beginning of the period. All the other goals were just weak goals that he should have. Um, he's got to be better. If he wants to be a playoff goalie and just a starter in this league, you can't give up 6 goals to a Devils team.
especially in the third period.
Especially the third period. Yeah, I mean, your best period has to be the third period, and you give up 6 goals. I mean, you give up it's a 5 goal differential, plus five for the Devils in the third period.
And that was a problem for the Devils last year. We played Winnipeg leading 4-0 going into the leading 4-1 going into the third. We lose that game 5-4 in a shootout. Same thing too. When we played the Panthers, we were winning the game 4-1 and we lose that game 6-4. So for a team to be consistent and go on a run, whether it's late in the season, early in the season, you have to close games out. Sure, it's great to play 60-minute hockey, but you also have to finish strong in the third period. And I, for me, I worry about that for the Penguins right now because if Tristan Jarry can't stop those goals when needed, that's going to be an issue going into the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I mean, I totally agree with you. I think um, you have to your best period as a goaltender should be the third period. That's the final period. You played 40 minutes. You already warmed up. 6 goals is a disgrace, and he should be embarrassed. You can't give up 6 goals in the third period to a struggling Devils team. I mean, how dare you as a Penguins goaltender? And I'm sure Mike Sullivan, you know, ripped the Penguins a new asshole after that game. But I mean, it's a team effort. It's a team game. There's no I in team, obviously. But however, the goalie let in 4 weak goals. The Nolan Foote and the Heischer are the two exceptions. And by the way, congratulations to Nolan Foote of getting his first National Hockey League goal.
Yes. Hopefully he's a key piece for us moving forward. Got him in the Blake
Exactly.
Coleman trade.
Yep. So, and anyways, you got to be better. 7-6. You can't beat teams 7-6 every night. 7-4, 6-4. It takes a toll.
Now imagine if Sidney Crosby didn't score to make it 7-3. You could have gotten 1 point out of this game for all you know.
I know, and that would have been scary for the next games coming up again. We have after these two other games against New Jersey, we play Boston twice, and we still have 2 games against Washington left. So we better tighten up our defense and our goaltending if we want to beat teams like Boston and Washington, because they eat stuff like this. They don't. If you let them hang around, teams like Washington and Boston are just going to kill you. And the Devils show that the Penguins might not be that good defensively, or it just might have been just a spark from a young Devils team.
Yeah, like they said, we don't give up, and I think that's basically what the Devils did yesterday. Hey, I don't want to lose my job next year. I don't want to be going to Seattle. I like it here in Jersey. We gotta show we're worth playing here. We gotta show we're worth keeping. So I think that's basically what the Devils did. I'm liking what I've been seeing from Michael McLeod lately. 7 goals on the year. This was a guy that struggled his first 15 or so games to get his first career goal. And I think moving forward, he's going to be a huge part for this organization going forward, especially on that third and fourth line as a depth forward. Now, who knows? He may find a spark and become a top six forward. I would love for that to happen for Michael McLeod to be a top six forward. But as we talk about depth, how important is it for the Devils to have a guy like Michael McLeod, whether it's on that third or that fourth line?
I mean, it's huge. He's a great player. I mean, I've seen him play. I saw him play last night, and he was phenomenal. I mean, a key piece like that, a young piece like that, is huge for our young lineup and a lineup that's like you said, playing for a roster spot. And I think he'll be in the NHL next season along with Nathan Bastian, Nolan Foote. It's going to be a different Devils team with the Paul Mary and Zajac trade. You might see Severson get taken by Seattle, um, just to get rid of Cap and just bring a whole new young squad in there with who don't have ties to the old Devils teams.
Yeah, that's right. Because who would you protect now moving forward? You could imagine it's going to be Blackwood. You could imagine it's going to be huge. He's sure.
Well, Hughes, I think
Well,
the
I don't think
rookie
Hughes could
is.
be protected because of his contract or
Yeah,
however it
if you're a
works.
rookie, all of your rookies are protected. So Foot, Hughes, um, if they just played in the NHL, I think they're and still in their entry level deal, I think they're protected.
You think a guy like Miles Wood would be here to stay, knowing the way he plays the similar way as Michael McLeod, or do you see him being unprotected and being in Seattle?
No, I think they take Severson. Um, Either that or like crappy, like maybe Aaron Dell, or like a crappy guy like that. You know, I see them protecting Wood. If anything, they would trade him in the future.
Yeah, I think he just signed a 3-year contract, so I think he has maybe 1 or 2 years left, something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through the box score. So the Penguins defenseman, CC with an assist, Brian Dumoulin with that crazy goal from center ice, Letang assist, John Marino with an assist, Mike Matheson with a goal, and oh look, who didn't get a point? Marcus Pettersson. I mean, the entire Penguins defense got points except Marcus Pettersson.
And he played the less time, too.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that. That's I told them I wanted them to trade him just because he doesn't contribute to anything. Let me see his plus. I mean, he was an even, so that's fine. Well, I'm gonna get to the Penguins' top line of Gensel, Crosby, and Rust. So Crosby had 2 points, a goal, and assist. Gensel had 2 points with 2 assists, and Rust had a goal and an assist with 2 points. So that line combines for 6 points in that game, and they've just been crushing the Devils this season. What do you think the Devils' problem is in terms of stopping that Crosby line?
I just think it's the experience. We don't really have that top six guy. Yeah, we have Heisha, we have Hughes, but when you're matching up against Sidney Crosby, you don't really have Brian Rust. You don't really have those guys. You don't have the Kyle Palmers anymore. You don't have the Adam Henriques anymore. Those were key guys that stopped these big players. You don't have the Travis Zajacs anymore. So I think that's really one of those big problems for us is not having that solid big guy to stop these big players. When you have a power play of, for example, Alex Ovechkin on the point, it's really going to be difficult to stop him when you have Michael McLeod, you have Will Butcher, um, Nathan Baston on the ice. Yeah, they're good depth players, but not good when you have to match up against those powerhouses of Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin. We didn't have to worry about the McDavids this year, the Matthews. So I think it's finding that big guy, finding, you know, someone that could match up well against him because in the past we were able to stop Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Brian Rush because we had our players. We had the Blake Colemans, the Travis Zajacs. We don't have that right now, and I think that's an issue moving forward unless, like I said, Michael McLeod, Nathan Baston could step up to be those top players on the penalty kill.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like for the playoffs, you're not like I was thinking about this when you were talking. We don't, we haven't seen Edmonton, Toronto, any of the Canadian teams, or any of college. We haven't seen anybody in any division besides the East. So like, how does that affect the playoffs in terms of let's hypothetically speaking, the Penguins get past the Islanders, the Capitals, and they verse the light. Let's say they verse Toronto in the conference finals. Um, Not seeing them for over a year. How does that you know structure the playoffs?
Like you said in the beginning, it's going to be an interesting playoffs because when you match up against these teams, like for example, the Capitals, they know how to play against the Devils. I think James was telling me we lost like 26 out of 30 matchups against them. So this Capitals team, especially, for example, Alex Ovechkin, he knows where to line up against the Devils. Yeah, he's always on the same spot against every team, but he knows the Devils. He knows that the Devils aren't really there defensively. So when I was at that game on Easter Sunday, he was at the point waiting to take his shot, but Will Butcher, I think it was Damon Severson, they were out of position. So Kuznetsov took the shot, and Ovechkin found the puck right by Blackwood, and he scored basically an empty netter. So we know these teams. The Capitals know the Penguins. Penguins know the Boston. It's going to be different when you face teams in the postseason that you really haven't faced before this season. And I think that's going to make the postseason even more interesting than the way it's been in the past. Because yeah, we might have played Edmonton once a year, but it's going to be different when you have to face them for 5 or 7 games.
And that's what makes the playoffs exciting. Like, let's say if it's a Penguins Islanders matchup, we've seen the Islanders 8 times this year. We beat them 6. How do the Islanders change from their analytics, and how do the Penguins, in game switch to try to beat them? And it's also Washington and Boston. You verse all these teams 8 times, so you know them. But when you verse teams like Tampa Bay, you haven't seen them this year, and they're possibly getting Kucherov back. You haven't seen any of these guys, so how do you it's hard. It's really hard to think about it. Like, it's just difficult. Like you said, you versed them at least 4 or 5 games. So how do you change that up?
I tell you, I'm glad we're doing a podcast and we're not a coach because it'd be a difficult job right now, especially with this season.
It was funny. Bob Erie, the color commentator for the Pittsburgh Penguins, was saying that yesterday because they were showing the injuries on the game broadcast. Bob, Malkin, Tanev, Kapanen, all these guys are coming back, right? And he's like, well, thank God I'm not a coach because I don't know how to switch up these lines because they've been doing so well. And he's like, and Bob Erie said, I'm just thank God I'm in the booth and not on the bench, which, pretty funny to think.
Yeah, because when you think about this postseason, it's going to be interesting for sure. Because if there's one team that could probably go on a run from each division, Toronto, Vegas would be one. Florida, I would assume. Penguins have the depth when healthy. So it's going to be interesting. Is there a team that you think could surprise people or maybe disappoint people?
I'm going to say the Bruins are going to be the disappointment. I don't think they have the depth to win a cup. And Rask has been so inconsistent. And I just think they're going to be a disappointment. I think the surprise...
Do they make the playoffs?
Yeah, I just don't see the Rangers, especially that they have... I'm looking at their schedule. They have to play. I mean, they lost to the Islanders. They play the Flyers tomorrow, and they're a team also fighting for a playoff spot. They versed the Flyers twice, Buffalo. Then they end the year 2 against the Islanders, 2 against the Capitals, 2 against the Bruins. If they want to make the playoffs, they would have to win at least 4 out of 6 of those games, and they have to sweep Boston and Washington.
Well, I think the Devils play Boston twice, May 3rd and May 4th. So that would be huge.
I'm looking at the schedule. I mean, the Rangers have a chance. They need some help from Buffalo.
Yeah, and I don't think we want them to make the postseason.
No, but I would rather have them make it than the Bruins. But
I don't think us Devil fans would want to help.
Oh yeah, no. But I want to go through the Islanders box score here because they put a pounding on the Rangers last night, 6-1 in Nassau. Bailey with 3 points. Bolivier.
Oh wow,
with
they
4
didn't
points.
blow a 6-1 lead.
No, they didn't. But Varlamov played excellent again with a 962 save percentage. So is this Islanders team a Stanley Cup contender?
I mean, you would think so by getting Zajac and Palms. They have the pieces in place. They went on a good run last year, and I think they were missing those pieces of Zajac and Palmieri. So I think they could be a Stanley Cup contender team. I believe they can go on another run. I'm just worried about if they could play consistent because we've seen it in the past where the Islanders have, these good looks and then all of a sudden, there's games where they look like, they're lost. So for me, it's all about consistency, but I think having Barry Trotz leading the way, being behind the bench, he's been there before. He knows what it takes to win the Stanley Cup. He's been there where, you lose those tough playoff games where, you're going home. So I think by having Barry Trotz, this Islanders team, and having all the veterans they do with Palmieri, Zajac, Green, Eberle, Matt Martin, you could say, I think they have a good chance to go into the Stanley Cup final this year and maybe winning it. The West, it's going to be a tough, tough battle for sure. But I think they have what it takes to get through the Eastern Conference.
So staying on the New York Islanders, I'm looking at rookie goaltender Ilya Sorokin's stats. He's 12-4-1 this season with a 2.02 goals against and a 922 save percentage. I believe he has 3 shutouts this season.
And I think I saw something. I think he has the best goals against average since February 15th.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. How important is to have a guy like Sorokin back up Varlamov, who's having, you could say, a Vezina candidate season? And how important is that to have 2 really strong goaltenders to back up your defense and offense?
Oh, I think that's huge for them. Who they had last year? Grice.
They had last year. They had Grice, who got a shutout in Game 7 against the Flyers. So I mean, they had Grice and Varlamov last season, and Varlamov had really good postseason stats in the bubble.
Yeah, I think that's huge for the Islanders, especially going into the postseason because early in the year you thought it would have been Varlamov and Corey Snyder, and then Sorokin came out of nowhere basically, and he's been a huge part for this Islanders' success. And let's say Varlamov doesn't do well in the postseason. We've seen it in the past with the Washington Capitals, the Avalanche. Barry Trotz can go to a guy like Sorokin and have all the confidence in the world. It's just like with the Pittsburgh Penguins and Mike Sullivan. You know, Murray wasn't looking good. Fleury was hurt. He had all these goaltending issues. He went with Zakharov. He got him the win. But they had the trust and the confidence, whether it was Jeff Zakharov, whether it was Marc-Andre Fleury, whether it was Matt Murray. So the fact that you could have 2 solid goaltenders going into the postseason and not worrying about, wow, Varlamov is struggling, what are we going to do? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go to our guy Sorokin, who's been a huge part for this team in the regular season.
I'm afraid. But the Penguins against Varlamov have been good. So I'm not saying we're going to verse them, but, it's pretty likely unless Washington loses games. But I want to get on to how is this Washington Capitals team after getting Anthony Mantha? Are they a cup contender or are they just more of like a playoff first round out team?
I think that he's looking great with Mac was tagging us and tweeting us in these things about him. Oh, you guys are wrong, blah, blah, blah. I think he's been a great pickup, a great addition for this Capitals team. I'm not going to say addition because they gave up two solid depth forwards in Panic and Verana.
But Dougie, here's the thing. I never said Anthony Mantha was a bad player.
Yeah, we never said Mantha sucked. We were just saying that they were missing the depth now.
Yeah, and they let me see their schedule. I believe they've been winning games, but
Yeah, they've been playing good.
their goaltending just hasn't been there.
Well, that's been an issue for the Capitals all year long, the goaltending.
I mean, they lost 6-3 to the Bruins. So I mean, the last game that they played. So how is I don't know, but like I feel like that's hurting them. The goaltending, yeah, they got Anthony Manta, but what is that going to do for not allowing 6 goals?
Yeah, I don't see the Capitals going on a solid run this year. I think it could be a one. I think it could be a first round exit. I think it could be a
And yeah,
second round exit.
and your
All
brother is a
depends on
big
that first
fan.
round matchup.
Your brother's a big fan of the Capitals. So what does he think about this?
He thinks they could still go on a run, but he's told me he's worried about this team moving forward because they don't really play consistent hockey. Yeah, they have those good moments, but they also have those bad moments. So who knows? Maybe they go on a good run with Laviolette. He's gotten the best out of his players. We saw it with the Flyers where they really didn't have a goaltender. They had Michael Leighton basically leading them to the Stanley Cup final. So they have the experience, they have the veterans, but they just don't have the depth on that third and fourth line. You're not going to play Alex Ovechkin, you know, 40 minutes out of 60 minutes. You're not going to have that solid goaltending where you need to win a Stanley Cup. It's been iffy this year with Sam Sonov. I mean, Vanacek's had his good moments, so I think that's a worry for, Capitals fans that they don't have that depth moving forward. They have good pieces, they just don't have that depth because you can't play Ovi, you can't play Backstrom 35, 40 minutes a game.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's going to be an interesting playoff season. Um, you got 4 really good teams: Washington, New York, Pittsburgh, and Boston. So
And I think for Washington, it's all about their first round matchup. If they play Boston, then maybe it won't be as bad. But if they're playing a team like the Penguins or even the Islanders, I don't see the Washington Capitals getting out of that first round.
it's going to be a tough. I don't know. They don't they're not the scary team where when they went on a power play, I was nervous. They don't have that aspect. Kuznetsov's not the player he used to be. Carlson's been a little like inconsistent this season. Ovechkin hasn't been the scorer that we've seen. So is this a weak Capital team? I mean, I think so. I think they don't have the pieces they have to win a cup, and they traded away the
It's
pieces that they have
Yeah,
going
it's
into the
it's not the
cup.
2018 team where you had Devonte Smith Pelly, a third, fourth liner. Yeah, he played with Ovi a few games, but you got goals from Smith Pelly, Brett Connolly. They're not in Washington anymore, so it's not like would you rather have Brett Connolly or would you rather have Daniel Sprong? I really don't see the depth there.
And we'll see what happens. I'm not going to talk more about the Capitals because
Yeah,
they're
we'll
wasting
see what
my
happens, but right now on paper, it's not the matchup isn't there.
no, they were wasting my time anyway. I don't like talking about Ovechkin. Um, but in terms of the Penguins last night, I think it was just a bad third period. I think moving forward, especially after what Sullivan said in the locker room. Obviously, I don't know what he said. I'm sure he was pissed. You saw it when he called a timeout late in the third period and stuff. So I think you need to win games against Jersey, the bottom team, and you have 2 games against Boston coming up. So I think it was just a bad third period, and they're going to rebound and play much better going forward.
So going on to tomorrow night, will we see Case? You think Sully goes with Jari and says, "Prove to me that you're the number one guy," and it was just a bad period?
I'm going to say he goes with Casey DeSmith tomorrow night. Just get a little difference in the team. Tomorrow game's at 7, and then we have a 12:30 game on Friday. So I think he'll go with this Smith Thursday, and then he'll go back to Jari on Saturday.
So, what do you think is going to be the key for this game? We talk about power plays, we talk about penalty kill. The last time it was just you and I, and we were recapping the Devils and the Penguins, previewing the next game. So, would you think it's more about not, slowing down in the third period, or do you think it's more basically, score the first goal and don't give up?
I mean, last night I believe they were 100% on the power play and 75% on the penalty kill. 3 for 4, and they were 1 for 1. So the special teams was there, and that led them to that 6-0 lead. If they just stay on their game and play an entire 60-minute game, because if you take out that third period, it was a blowout.
Yeah, it was 6-0.
Yeah. So it was just a bad game from Jari. It was a bad game for the last 10 minutes for the defense. So they gotta tighten up in terms of the next games we play, or playoff games. Two again after the Devils, we have 2 against Boston, 2 against the Capitals, and 2 against the Flyers. Those are 6 playoff games virtually. You got Boston, who's right up on our tail. Washington, who we could possibly catch to get the first in the division, depending on what the Islanders do. And then you got the Flyers, who apparently Alain Vigneault, head coach, said that they are going to make the playoffs. So, playoff game.
When did he say that?
2 days ago, he said
NHL standings.
They are 9 points away from Bruins, I believe.
They are 11 points away.
Yeah, I don't think they're making the playoffs, but Alain Vigneault can think what he wants.
Yeah, they are 11 points out.
With 2 games more played, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're done.
Unless they go on some magical run.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Well, do they play Boston?
I'm sure they do, but it doesn't matter. Boston has games in hand.
All right, here's the Flyers schedule. They play the Rangers twice.
Who the Rangers scored 18 goals in 2 games against them?
Yeah, they dominated them. Then they play the Devils. Maybe this is what he's getting to. They play the Devils 4 times in a row.
The Devils are fighting, like you said, are fighting for playoffs. I'm sorry, roster spots. So, do you think it's going to be no team is easy in this league, no matter if you're Buffalo?
No, it's not.
So I don't know, but I think I'm looking right now. I just don't know if they have it.
I don't think so either.
I'm looking at the division right now. If it loads,
unless he was playing NHL 21 and was talking about his season mode.
I mean, they first of all, they are awful at home. They are 9-10-4, and they have a negative 34 goals differential, or goals against, I should say. That's awful. So look at the top teams. Plus 22, plus 27, plus 27, plus 17. Then you have the Rangers at plus 28. You can't win games if you're giving up 34 more goals than you're getting.
No.
And they are, like you said, they are 11. So they are 11 points out with a game more played. I don't know what Alain Vigneault is talking about.
Yeah, I don't even see that. I was talking to a friend. I said the Devils are worse. It's going to be a while, but based on that third period, I don't see the Devils giving up the rest of the year. For sure we're not making the playoffs, but I don't see us giving up the rest of the year. I think it's going to be hard-fought games, whoever the Devils play, because a lot of guys want to be part of this New Jersey Devils team for the long run. They're not going to be like, season's over, let's not play. They have a lot to prove.
I mean, I want to put this.
We've seen it where our top guys get traded.
Yeah, I want to put this in perspective. So I'm looking at the Scotia North Division, which is the Canadian division. Montreal has 47 points. Ottawa, who's last in that division, has 36 points. Believe that, to my calculation, that's 11 points away. So that's a lead Vigneault basically right there. Ottawa's not a chance of making the playoffs, and I know that the Flyers have a chance.
Yeah, uh, but they like to keep things positive.
Yeah, it's
See,
Philly,
us, we keep
so
things. It's our job to keep it realistic.
yeah. So what do you think about the Discover Central Division? Tampa is sitting in third place right now. You think it's gonna? I mean, only 3 points separate the top three teams. What do you think it's gonna? Who do you think wins that division?
Well, if the Lightning get back Kucherov, I see the Lightning winning it. But
But I don't think Kucherov's returning it until the playoffs.
Carolina's looking good. I think Carolina's going to stay. They have the games in hand, 45 compared to Panthers 47 and Lightning 46. But I
Yeah,
think what's more interesting is who's going to get that fourth spot. You have the
yeah,
Predators, you have the Stars, and then
and
you
the
have the
Stars have 2 games
Blackhawks.
in hand too. The Stars have 45 games played. Nashville has 47.
And yeah,
So
Stars are on a 4 game winning streak, so we could talk about this 1 through 3, but that fourth spot is between 3 teams basically: the Predators, the Stars, and the Blackhawks. So that's going to be interesting going down to the wire.
what Carolina has dominated both home and away. I mean, they're 16-3-4 at home and 14-7-1 on the road. So it seems like they just, I mean, they played 2 great games in Tampa, getting 3 out of 4 possible points. So it's gonna be a good finish. 10 games left for some of those teams, 9 for others. So it's gonna be a crazy finish. This is the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah,
So
and normally we're heading towards the second round this
yeah,
time of
it's
year.
April 21st. So, but I am going to the game tomorrow. My first live sporting event in over a year.
Nice. I just went to Philadelphia on Monday for the Philly game. Been to
Yeah, how
five
was
double
that?
games this year. It was good. I saw my boy Evan Longoria basically be the star of the game with a double, and then
Two
Bell hit a
nothing,
home
right? It
run.
was 2-0
Yeah.
Giants. Yeah, so
So I saw. I didn't even realize how many Rays I saw. I saw Evan Longoria. That's basically who I went there for. Then I saw Brad Miller and Matt Joyce on the Phillies. So I basically saw the
you got
Rays.
any autographs?
No, because I really don't know where they do it in Philly,
Yeah, I don't know either.
and I didn't want. It's an hour drive by, so I didn't want to like really wait.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get back to watching hockey live. I went to 10 games last year. Now it's my only. I'll only be going to this one, and if they versus the Islanders, I'll be going to a bunch of games in Nassau. But it's gonna be a fun time tomorrow. I think it's gonna be a good game. After the game we saw last night.
Yeah, we shall see. Hopefully, it's not a third period game and it's actually an exciting 60-minute game.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to an 8-0 win for the Pens, but actually, the last game I went to, I'm trying to think, might have been a Capital game last year
Yeah,
before they shut down.
the
Oh no,
last.
the last game I went to was actually when my buddy James came in February before they shut down everything due to COVID.
I saw
Uh,
the Devil Penguin game before we got shut down.
yeah, the last pro game I went to was over a year and a half ago. Lightning Penguins, Yanni Gord won it in overtime. Yeah, that was the last game I went to. So it's gonna be fun,
Yeah, we
a little
lost
different.
5-2.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good game for the Crosby line.
Yeah, we lost 5-2.
But tomorrow's game's gonna be a good game. I'm assuming Dis Smith will be in net. I have no idea who will be in net for the Devils. I'm gonna assume Aaron Dell.
Yeah, probably Dell. I wouldn't go with Wedgwood.
No, it's gonna. I mean, they both gave up. I mean, Wedgwood gave up 4 last night, and Dell gave up 3. So Dell actually ended up with the loss because the Devils scored 6 goals, which gave Wedgwood off the hook. So
Really? Even though it wasn't tied?
no, so Wedgwood gave up 4 goals,
Yeah.
and the Devils once the Devils scored their 4th goal, because Wedgwood was pulled, he was off the hook for the loss, and it went to Aaron Dell's game to lose because Aaron
So,
Dell gave up the 3 goals after the 4th one.
so it was wait, it was seventh. Wait,
It was 6-0,
yeah, and then it was
but it
six.
but it was 4-0, and then Wedgwood got pulled because after the first period, Wedgwood never came back. And then when the Devils scored that 4th goal, it was negated, so he wasn't on the hook anymore because the Devils scored 4 goals. It would be like 2-2, and someone gets hurt and gets pulled. Same thing.
Oh, so it's based off of how many.
But yeah, how many goals you score.
Oh, I never knew that.
So I could be in net if the Penguins and give up 8 goals, but if the Penguins get 8 goals, I'm off the hook for the loss, basically.
I didn't know that because I thought since it was 4-0, they would have lost. He would have got the loss, Wedgie.
No, because the Devils scored the 4th goal to basically tie up the game. So
All
he
right,
was off the
interesting.
hook. Yeah, it's a cool stat. So Aaron Dell actually got the loss
So how did
last night
Crosby get the game-winning goal then at 7-3?
because it was 7-6, so he got the game-winning goal. That 7th goal was the game-winning goal. That makes sense to you.
Even though it was 7-3?
Yes,
That all right.
because the game ended 7-6, so Crosby eventually got that
Oh yeah,
game-winning
he had
goal.
the tiebreaker basically.
Basically, yeah. So just imagine if it was 6-6 and then Crosby scored. Same thing.
Which probably would have happened most likely.
Problem.
All right, we're going to take a quick 30-second break, and then when we come back, we're going to have our predictions for tomorrow night. All right, we are back on the Doug Saravo show. We've been talking National Hockey League, Devils, Penguins, Washington Capitals. It's been a great show. We didn't have Andrew Mackin all blurry, so we were able to have a conversation and understand what we were saying. So hopefully next time when Andrew comes on, he's on his laptop. So let's do some predictions for tomorrow night. I'm going to start. I think the Devils surprisingly win this game 4-3. Jack Hughes has a 2-goal, 1-assist game, and Aaron Dell bounce back between the pipes. He gets the win, and I don't know what the over under is. Probably like 5.5. So it will be the over. Mark, what's your prediction for tomorrow night?
You know me. I'm going 4-2 Penguins. Empty net goal from Mark Jankowski. Goals from Crosby, Rust, and Aaron Rodriguez. I'm going to say DeSmith stops 24 out of 26. And I'm going to say Jack Hughes gets a goal as long as Igor Sharangovich.
He's been a huge part for this Devils team.
Yeah, he has 11 goals right now, right? So,
Something like that. All
yeah,
right,
I'm going to say 4-2 Pens.
all right, let's see. I'm looking for tomorrow.
If the over under is 5.5, I'm going to go with the under.
I think they just have today. Hold on. Because I'm on the William Hill app now. I did that at the Devil game. All right, Devils, Penguins, over, under. All right, let's see what we got. For some reason, they only have yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let's go to NHL schedule. All right, tomorrow, Devils, Penguins. Yeah, I don't see it, but it's probably like 5.5.
Yeah, then I would go with the under.
All right, here's Thursday. This is on ESPN. Negative 290 Pittsburgh.
Mm.
Yeah, surprisingly, Blackwood has been very inconsistent this year. 9-15-3.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough couple of seasons for the Devils, but I think they are a couple. I would say like 5 pieces away from being a playoff team.
All right, so the over under is 6.
Oh,
I guess after last night, it makes sense.
I would go with the under. After a game like that, you kind of play
Yeah,
more
I don't see it
defensive.
being over.
Yeah, I would say it's 4-2 Penguins victory. Goals by Janikowski, Rust, Crosby, and Rodriguez.
Not bad. All right, so you got that. I got 4-3. Let's see who's correct, and we'll discuss it on Monday.
That's right.
Hopefully Andrew joins us. I think we might have someone else on the show too. His name's Matt Gizzy. You've probably seen him in the past.
Probably.
Big
What happened
Ranger
to Mark
fan.
Weiss?
Who?
Mark Weiss, whatever his
Oh,
name
Mark Weiss. I'm gonna talk to him, see if he wants to come on again.
is.
We'll probably do like a playoff preview show. Playoffs will probably start on a Wednesday, so that Monday we'll talk NHL playoffs.
Well, the season doesn't end until May 11th,
Yeah, and
so
that's what.
it's like 2, 3 weeks away. Let's see. 10 days. Yeah, it's about.
Oh, season ends that Tuesday.
Well, they extended it, so it's May 11th is what is the final game because the Bruins had COVID, and then it wasn't time to make up any games, so they kind of pushed it back.
So the playoffs would start that 19th.
I think so. Maybe not that far. Maybe like the 15th.
Yeah, so I'll see when it is. But yeah, we could always do a preview show. Do our own
I'm
bracket.
I'm ready. We could do a little bracket challenge.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's see who wins.
Yep.
Probably, I think it's gonna be maybe Vegas, Florida, Carolina, maybe Toronto.
I don't think Toronto's getting out of the first or second round.
Pittsburgh may have a shot.
Let's go.
Islanders. All depends on the matchups. Then you can really see.
Yeah, we're gonna have to discuss this when maybe like 2 weeks from now when the standings are pretty much solidified.
Yeah, because once you have like the matchups, then you know who's going to
Yeah,
have a good. Like if you know Toronto's playing Boston, that's
but it's
basically
gonna
a
be a
tough.
tough bracket because everything reseeds after you win based on points percentage. So
Oh, so kind of like 11 and 12, where the Devils played the Flyers because of the seed.
yeah. So
Yeah,
if your point percentage, let's say your point percentage is 723, but the Penguins are 720, that team gets a higher seed.
yeah. So it's like the National Football League playoffs: one
Yeah,
versus four, two versus three.
yeah.
Not bad.
No, it's gonna
We
be it's
shall.
gonna it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yep,
Can't wait.
I'm excited.
Any team could win it this year. That's the best part.
That is, I mean, you get Colorado, Vegas out in the West, the Canadian. You possibly had Edmonton, Toronto, and then in the Central you can have Lightning, Carolina, Florida, and in the East you can have Washington, Boston, Pittsburgh, and New York. Really, 4 teams.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good playoff series. A good playoff season, I should say.
Looking forward to it. And then we got the drafts. We got free agency.
Expansion draft.
Yeah.
Seattle with their new jerseys.
See what Seattle does.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I might have to buy a Seattle hat or something if they take one of our good players.
Yeah,
So
I wonder who. I really want to know who they'll take. This NHL season, despite everything, interesting,
yes, it's gonna be very interesting.
and the off season's gonna be even better.
Yep. All right,
All right,
Doug.
all right, Mark. It's always a pleasure.
Yep. Let's go Pens for tomorrow. I'll send you some pictures from the arena.
Yeah, have fun.
Thank you.
All right, take care, buddy. I'll see you
Take
around.
take care.